Well, as I always say every single time, Mondays are the most boring day starting the week. However, like what I did on the Sunday episode where we have all Choco Pro, I decided, what the hell, let's do all Stardom. As you know, recently they were doing the Golden Week Fight Tour. They made two more stops, one at Kumamoto, which is in fact the hometown of Yuna Mizumori. As you know, she is the current member of Cosmic Angels. And then the following day, they hit the Fukuoka, which is the hometown of the current Rebel champion, and of course, everybody's favorite tag team in the area, FWC, Koguma, and Azuki. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about the much recent show that had a number of people, a small group of Stardom talent, that made their way to Osaka for the annual Osaka Comic Con. Now, for the record, I did not see this entirety of this event, but however, I am fully aware of what took place. I saw some photos and whatnot. There's no clips. I wish I could find it, but we'll see where that leads. But we cap it up with, of course, with some news updates, mostly coming from GCW to keep you guys updates on their much recent events that are taking place from here on out, and of course, some interesting developments. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Leaded Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do more news updates, but this time this one has real alert timing. In case if we want to know what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, I decide to address it as soon as possible. And of course, we have the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff as well on this channel. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, I believe it's time to get this show on the road. So let's begin with Stardom in Kumamoto. Okay, Stardom in Kumamoto. As you know, this is, of course, part of the Golden Week Fight Tour that took place. This is their second day they had so far, and this happened on May 4th. This is also the hometown of Yuna Mizumori, which she'll be participating in the main event, taking on Sayori Inoue. But we'll get to that in a bit. Now, our first match, we have Aya Sakura taking on Suri. Now, those who know this or not, before Aya Sakura made her decision to join Cosmic Angels, she basically had a great interaction and with Shuri because they both have a thing for karate. They both have martial arts status, and of course, Sakura came out wearing the gear that resembles the one to Shuri. She thought it was a perfect occasion to be in this match with her. Now, of course, we know Shuri is highly experienced. Aya Sakura, we know she's, trained well, but unfortunately that didn't do any well for her because Much like what we see in Rookies, it doesn't matter in what promotion in Japan, they always ended up in the Boston Crab, where they have no other choice but to tap. Now, our next match, we have a bit of a three-way match. We have Rian versus Hanaku versus Saki Kashima. Now, we have witnessed recently, Kashima, as you know, was injured, and of course, she came out like she's okay or not. Now, we don't know if this is part of her shenanigans or what it is. I mean, she probably is hurt, but she's probably using a way to use that in her advantage to pick up wins. Who knows? But of course, when Rian and Hanako noticed how this thing was going, they turned their attention back to each other, but unaware as soon as, Hanako took out Rian, Kashima took advantage of it and pinned her, and just like that, it was win. I know for a fact that, Hanako's not happy with this, that she didn't get the win, even though this was supposed to have been her match, but that's Kashima. There's nothing you can do about it. Next up, we have members of God's Eye, consistent of Rana Yagami, Konami, and Ami Sori, taking on star members Momo Kogo, Hanan, and Mayu Iwatani. So it was a pretty good match, not to mention there's no storylines involved in this one. But however, I'm sure that this would be the type of match that would build momentum for Ami Suri. Now, don't forget, she is challenging Sayuri Onoi for the white belt. This is not the first time she has challenged for the white belt. She did have a previous match, and I just remembered it was against Saya Kamitani, but she eventually lost. So, of course, this was going to be a build-up momentum for her, which she did when she applied the Blue Thunder Bomb on Momo Kogo and picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have the members of Queen's Quest, consistent of Mayu Imasaki, Lady C, Azumi, and Saya Kamitani, taking on Waka Tsukiyama, Zina, Mina Shirakawa, and Maika. So basically, as you know, EXV has been showing their dominance, since the formation. But however, it was Mina Shirakawa with the implanted DDT onto Lady C, giving the win to EXV. Our next match, we have the other members of Stars, consistent of Sayaida, Koguma, and Azuki. Now, don't forget, their opponents they will be facing, we do have Sayaka Kurata participating. She teams up with Crazy Stars. They were as you know, they're defending the tag titles the following day in Fukuoka, which is their hometown, which is a home field advantage from there. So, however, there's a lot at stake in this match. Who's walking away with momentum? That's always been the key thing. Now, some of you may think just because Sayaka Kurata was going to be the downfall, basically the one that allows them for Stars to pick up the win. Nope, it wasn't that. It was Zuzu with the Gran Maestro de Tequila onto Koguma. Just like that, they just completely won. But things got out of hand between both FWC and Crazy Stars. They even try to separate them, but we'll see what happens the following day in Fukuoka. Now, the war continues more with Starlight Kid, as you know, teaming up with Tam Nakano, but this time she teams up with Natsupoi as well, her rival as well in the high-speed division. But however, the one thing that was interesting is that Natsupoi, Tam, and Starlight Kid were doing the Kozen dance, which is very, very interesting. But I have to say, she is nailing it. Now, many people have been saying, is there the possibility she could join Cosmic Angels? As soon as this episode finishes, I will be doing the discussion about Starlight Kid. I feel that we need to talk about this one as soon as possible, because I feel like we're on the verge that things could change for the best. So we'll see. But however, of course, they will be facing Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora in this whole thing. But of course, their primary target is Starlight Kid, to punish her even further. Now, Kid and Natsuko would do whatever it takes to protect her, but they were smart enough to try to isolate her, but unfortunately it didn't do so well until, of course, we saw Natsuko Tora applied the Swanton Bomb onto Kid, and just like that, it was over. Even though it's frustrating for Kid to lose in this fashion. But the one thing is clear for her is that she's happy to know that Tam is there by her side. And I think Tam's presence may be the deciding factor. And as I said before, I will talk about that in the discussion video. Now, our main event, we have the hometown girl, Yuna Mizumori, taking on her own teammate, Saori Onoi. It's rather very interesting for her to pick someone like Saori Onoi to be in her match. But however, I think it's necessary. Because we normally have seen Yuna Mizumori. We know she's talented. We know she has a big powerhouse. But I have to say, this was one of the best performances I've ever seen her in. This time is more like she is taking things a little bit more serious because this is a very important match. Not because she's in her hometown, because people probably would like to see more what she can do in the ring. I mean, she's not like that tropical girl that we always seen all the time. But unfortunately, she did not pick up the win. It was starting with the Tempest Tendra, just like that, to pick up the win. But however, Saori Onoi saw how hardworking she really is. And not to mention, they said that she was the one who helped produce the show all by herself. And I think Serena appreciates that from her. I think she's proud to have her as her teammate and someone that, is definitely growing. And I think that's an important thing. And of course, dressed her fans as always, the people of her hometown. And hopefully next year she'll come back. And I think many fans will be looking forward to it. And we'll see what happens from here on out. Right now, let's just finish with this one with Kumamoto. Let's move on with Stardom in Fukuoka. Okay, the final day of the Golden Week Fight Tour in Fukuoka. This took place this past Sunday on the 5th of May. As I mentioned, this is the hometown of three particular Stardom talents: Maika, Koguma, and Azuki. So this is a very important role. However, as Maika is not defending the red belt on this particular day, she, along with members of EXV, Xena and Mina Shirakawa, will defend the artist belts against, of course, members from Stars. But that's the semi-main event. But the main event is, of course, the goddesses of Stardom titles will be defended. Crazy Stars, consistent of Mei, Sita, and Suzuki, defended against FWC, Koguma, and Azuki. So we'll get to that in a bit. Now, our first match, we have a very interesting match. It's been almost a year since these two faced off each other, and it happened in New Blood. Aya Sakura and Waka Tsukiyama. Now, those who don't know this, let me give you guys a quick recap what's going on. Those who know exactly what I'm talking about, thank you for staying on the bus. So anyway, the story goes, ever since Aya Sakura made her debut, she revealed during a New Blood press conference that she find Waka Tsukiyama annoying. Now, Waka did not appreciate that coming from her, and Sakura always criticized her for the type of person she is, even when she's teaching her. Now, we're not saying that she's a bad teacher. According to what Sakura was saying, she feels that whatever they were learning, Waka was using that on her own advantage for, to succeed even further. And of course, Waka has always been determined to work with Aya Sakura. Now, there was a clip that's been out there recently, but I was unable to see it. Only bits and photos and pieces. As you know, when Aya Sakura made her return this past March, I think Waka thought in the back of her mind, you see, she was the one who was giving her words of advice in her comeback match. I think the plan that Waka was hoping is that Aya Sakura was finally going to accept the invitation in joining AEXV. But however, we all know what happened. This led to the shock to everybody to find out. So it looks more like Aya Sakura was keeping her distance from her. She doesn't want nothing to her. But you would think that maybe Aya Sakura has grown up the last time she faced Waka. I mean, she did lose to her. But, of course, Waka applied her infamous, the Hoshi suplex. And just like that, she won. However, in the post-match comment, Aya knows that she lost. But, however, she won the bet. Apparently because she beat her. she has to take Aya Sakura and Hanako out to dinner, and of course Waka goes out. But I forgot my wallet. It doesn't matter. She Aya Sakura won the bet. So basically, I love how Sakura is making Waka's life very, very interesting. Now, speaking of Hanako, she ends up in a three-way match facing off against Yuna Mizumori and Konami. Now, of course, we have seen how serious now Yuna Mizumori has been as of late. But however, when it comes to Konami, she's the one person you know you want to steer clear from, because once she puts you in the Triangle Lancer, it is over. And Hanako learned the hard way. But it worked out in Konami's favor. Now, we have Cosmic Angel members Sayaka Kurata teaming up with Natsupoi. I have to say, Kurata and Natsupoi teamed up very, very well. I mean, we have seen the growth of Kurara for a while now, how she has grown up so much. But however, it wasn't enough because it was Amasaki uh, who applied the Tenzai on her to pick up the win. So we will see how much progression she get, but I'm glad that Kurara is getting help from her seniors, more specifically Natsupoi. Next up, we got members of God's Eye, Saki Kashima and Ami Suri, taking on the members of Queen's Quest, more specifically Lady C and Sayakami Tani. So, however, that kind of puts out a very interesting moment. Now, um, there has been moments we have, if you guys remember, there was a bit of a connection with Lady C and Amisori, but however, things didn't go exactly their way. But it was, of course, Amisori with the Blue Thunder Bomb that put away Lady C, but it was Kashima, all thanks to Amisori, to have her pin and picked up the win. And of course, Lady C's pissed that how things ended up, but nonetheless, that's how this match ended. Now, our next match, we continue with the battle with Starlight Kid teaming with Tam, and now she teams up with someone she faced recently, Sayori Onoi, which is very interesting. They take on Tekla, Momo Watanabe, and of course, Natsuko Tora. Now, you would think that there was going to be a little difference between that. No, but once again, as always, we've been seeing how Odatai have been very more consistently try to separate uh, Kid from Tam and Sarinui in the match, which was very, very methodical. And once again, it was, of course, Momo with a suplex onto Kid to pick up the win, and I'm sure. But of course, we did hear later on that she's happy that Tam was there, even though she's frustrated of these losses. I mean, she's getting tired of these getting beat up by Oda Tai, but nonetheless, she's happy that Tam is there. That she refuses to, of course, let Oda Tai to harm her. But we'll talk more about her in a bit. Well, until the next video. Now, our next match this is one of two title matches. This is the artist belts, the trio belts. We have star members consistent of Saya Ida, Hanan, and Miyu Iwatani versus EXV, Xena, Mina Shirakawa, and Maika. I have to say this is one of the most impressive matches, but I think that what was more impressive is the growth of Hanan. We often said that she deserves to rise to the top, and that's exactly what we saw. She just won the Cinderella tournament, and not to mention she had a shot of the white belt, unsuccessful, but nonetheless her determination to win has been very impressive. But unfortunately, she ended up in the Michinoku driver by Maika, and Maika, along with her teammates, retained the belt. But during the post-match comment, Maika gave props to Hanan, saw her growth as very exciting. So, of course, we will see more of Hanan in the future. I'm sure many of us would like to see her win a very good, impressive belt that she deserves to have. So, we'll see what happens. Now, our main event, this one features, of course, the Goddesses of Stardom. We have FWC consistent of Koguma and Azuki taking on Crazy Stars, Azuki and Suzuki, and of course Mei Sita. I thought this match was fantastic. I mean, they're they're almost similar in some capacity. I mean, you look at Koguma and of course Mei Sita, they're both high speedsters. You look at Azuki and Zuzu, they're both two of the hardest wrestlers we have, which is their combinations are almost similar. But the real question is who's going to walk out. But of course, many people would have expected it would be FWC because this is their hometown. And nonetheless, it was Azuki with the brainbuster on May, allowing for them to become three-time Goddesses of Stardom Tag Champions. And of course, FWC and Crazy Star actually complimented on themselves how strong they both are. But it didn't take long until the next challengers made their way, and that, of course, is none other than O2 Line from Queen's Quest, Amasaki and Azumi. So basically, they issued the next challenge. So I'm sure it's going to happen. We just don't know when. But we do know that, of course, O2 Line will be involved the following day. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see it for the All Together show, and they face Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. But we'll get to that at some point. But right now, I think we're done here. Let's do a little small review of the Stardom match at the Osaka Comic Con. Okay, as you know, while this whole event in Fukuoka was taking place on May 5th, four members of the Stardom roster were in fact at another city, in Osaka, participating in a match at the Osaka Comic Con. Yes, folks, there is a Comic Con in Osaka and also in Tokyo. I have seen them before, so don't say that you didn't know about this. You know that it exists, so don't play dumb. But however, the people involved in this match, we have, of course, the members Gadzai, Rana Yagami, and Shuri. They were facing against the rookie Rian and Momokogo. Now, there is no video on this particular match. I know they will put it in months ahead of time, but however, there were some clips, some pictures that were shown. There was moments where, of course, outside the ring, you see Momokogo and Shuri going at it. And I'm like thinking, what is Momokogo thinking? I mean, this is not something she's familiarized outside of the ring. It felt like Shuri's, more like Shuri's, I don't know, like it's her playground, but nonetheless. But from my understanding, it was, of course, Shuri who picked up the win with the Scorpion hold, um, on Rian to pick up the win. So I don't know if they will put this video. I mean, Stardom doesn't put any other clips of this event on their YouTube channel or anything. But I know there have been fans who were able to put it. Now I'm not sure if anybody were able to capture it, but hopefully there is. And if I do, I will let you guys know and I'll put it in the description down below. But yes, so that pretty much what happened for that particular day. Right now, let's move on with some news updates. So we'll end the entire thing from that. Okay, let's talk about some GCW updates. That's going to take up much of it with the updates on the promotions side. For the most notorious show taking place in Philly on the 18th of May, they just announced Cheeseburger will be involved. Pretty nice. And then, of course, the following day in Ridgeway Park for the Sunday night special, four names have been announced to participate. Casey Cattell, of course, her husband Brandon Kirk is also mentioned. Griffin McCoy and tag team Davey Bang and August Matthews, better known as Bang and Matthews. Now, just recently, this was just announced for the Cage of Survival 3 taking place on June 2nd. There's going to be a Cage of Survival match, Effie versus Mance Warner. However, a stipulation was thrown in that if Effie, by any means necessary, puts his hands on Manswerder before this event, the match will not be happening and he will be suspended. So we'll see about how that turns out. And then, of course, on the 28th of June, we do know there's going to be the No Sleep event in Houston. They just announced Chica Tormenta will be involved. So that's going to be fun. Now, related to GCW, Galeno del Mal, you may know him as the son of Dr. Wagner Jr., the little brother of Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., has announced that will be participating in 3 GCW events. The Lights Out event on the 14th of June in Denver, then the following day on the 15th of June in LA for Hit 'em Up, and then later on the 29th of June, he'll be heading to Dallas for Crime Wave. So he'll be participating in all 3 shows. Now, we're done with the updates on the promotions, more specifically GCW. Let's talk about some certain developments. This was reported by PW Insider involving Ricky Starks. As you know, we haven't seen him since, of course, he and Big Bill lost tag belts to Sting and Darby Allin. He's not been seen on television for a while, but it was recently told that he was in Jacksonville to get a checkup by the AEW medical team. So basically, we're beginning an update to see how he's doing. But, however, his return has not been determined just yet. So we'll be putting a follow-up on this one once we know more. Now, as you know, recently, Xia Li has been, of course, you know, she was released from the company and all this. She just recently went on her Instagram post and announced that she is now accepting bookings. So, basically, she just posted out on her Instagram page her email address, Xia Li, which is, instead of the Li, is Lee, at gmail.com. I'll see if I can put it right here so you guys can see it. It's Xia Li at gmail.com. So if you guys in any of the local promotions in your area want to see her there, let your local promoter know that you want to book her want to see her there, and hopefully they can book her. So we'll put in that. Now, recently, as you guys know, I mentioned that Pro Wrestling Wave has announced for their upcoming tournament, the Catch the Wave event. Now, for that particular tournament, you win the tournament by facing the winner of the Regina the Wave title, which is their top title. Recently, they announced that Saya Kamitani will be participating. It's very interesting to see a wrestler from Stardom participating in an independent promotion, and it's very interesting. However, they did mention that her first match will be against Risa Serra on the 23rd of June. So I'm looking forward to see how that's going to go. And finally, as you know, there's been talk about the recent promotion in Uganda in Africa, Soft Ground Wrestling. As you know, Will Ospreay donated money to that, but it turns out he's not the only one. Mustafa Ali donated $2,000 to the promotion. I thought it was a real nice, generous thing for him. I think many people are hooked into this whole thing with soft ground wrestling in Uganda, and it's pretty cool to see it. So I think that's pretty much it, what we have for our updates and, of course, our reviews. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT. We're entering the fallout after, of course, the 2-week spring break-in. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to take place. As you know, we know certain wrestlers have left NXT and joined the main roster. We'll see how things are going to be from here on out. Now, I'm considering also reviewing the much recent show from Pro Wrestling Noah, Wrestle Magic. That one had a pretty good event, and I'm looking forward to it. If there's anything else I want to see, we'll just see what happens until then. But for right now, I'm just going to put NXT as a priority, and after that. But right now, we're going to focus on our next video, which is going to be, of course, about Starlight Kid. When it's next for her. We did the same thing with Kashima last year. Now it's Starlight Kid's turn. So stand by for that video. So as of right now, I'm going to say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.